Hello, hello, everybody. All right, so I wanted to come live just for a few minutes, okay? I am really excited about talking about this with you, and we're going to come back to it. Oh, I got to charge my computer. What I want to ask you is a couple questions. So let me restart this, all right? So, first of all, my name is Raven Woods. I'm the CEO and founder of Autism Mama Rocks IEP, and I help parents gain the knowledge and the confidence to become the CEO of their IEP meeting, which is super exciting and it's very rewarding to make sure that children are getting the adequate education that they need. If you are new to catching me live, post a 1 below. All right. So post a 1 below, tell us where you're from, and hopefully you come over to the group. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. So 1 below if it's your first or third time, 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. Real quick, I have a group. It's called Autism Mama Rocks IEP group. You can stick that in the search bar. And it's growing so big that I'm having to head over there to focus more because I can't leave them alone. It's grown so much that if I ignore it, then that would defeat the purpose, right? The group is more intimate. A lot of conversation happens there. I also do a live Q&A once a week. Just to give you an idea, 139 people that I couldn't even add yesterday because it's a lot, okay? So head over there. That's where I'm going to be doing most of my content videos now and the Q&A. So all you got to do is stick in the search bar, Autism Mama Rocks IEP group, okay? Moving forward, I want you guys to understand that what we're going to talk about for just a few minutes, because I have a 12:30 4-hour IEP makeover, I want you guys to focus on this question, and then we're going to hit it again on Monday. All right? So this is what I want you to think about. Should you, all right, I know the answer. I want to hear yours. You're welcome to post below. All right, I want to hear your answer. So, should you still deal with the mess and because your child's in third, fourth, fifth grade, you've been dealing with the IEP for years now, right? And, it's a darn mess, but you're in the middle of it all, right? So, do you deal with that and address the mess, okay? That may or may not be working. Obviously, if it's working and your child's making progress and the goals are adequate and the present levels are on point and 100%, then I highly suggest that you stick with that, okay? But that's as long as you're getting data. That's as long as you are making sure that the goals match the present levels and the present levels are accurate, okay? That's why I'm going to be doing this intensive mastermind that's going to be the end of this month and 2 times next month. So if you want to sign up, post below, PM me. It's going to be all about those present levels baseline and why they're the meat and potatoes of your IEP. If those aren't right, your whole IEP is off. It is not right, your whole IEP. So if you're wondering, why is my IEP not right? Why won't the school change it? Why am I fighting with them all the time? Have you ever gotten so mad and frustrated and upset, like emotionally upset at your IEP meeting and you just stop talking? I've done that so many times and then I leave and I feel sick to my stomach because I didn't advocate, because I was just so mad and frustrated and flustered. And, I hear all the time, my child's not making progress. My child's not making progress. They can't read, they're not being given speech. They're not being given OT, all of these different things. And a lot of that, I'm telling you, it stems back from the present levels not being accurate. Because if your present levels are accurate, then all those things fall into place. Goals are developed from them. So in my mastermind, I'm excited about that, that I'm going to be teaching how to do all that. And by the time you leave me at the end of the day, you're going to know how to write your own goals and your own present levels. But enough about that. So should you deal with the mess that you already have, or if it's a mess, you're not, your IEP team's not listening to you, you feel like you're not heard, you're frustrated, your child's not making progress and so forth, right? So what do you do? So do you do that, or do you start new? Do you recreate? Do you reevaluate? And do you completely start over as if your child is just qualifying for special education? Do you do that? So I want you to pay attention to that. All right. I want you to think about that. All right. And there's going to be a number 2 to this on Monday. All right. So post below what your thoughts are on that. Should you deal with the mess if it's a mess, or should you start completely over? And if you'd like, post below why you feel that way. All right. I know when I ask on this page, it is completely not as communicative as my group. If I ask my group questions, they answer. I know, a lot of you guys are just on the outside. You have no clue who I am. And anybody can watch stuff that's on a page. So that's why I encourage you to go to Autism on Rocks IEP group and put that in the search bar and join the group. I'm going to be adding everybody this weekend, okay? So I promise you'll be added. But this is a series 1 of 2, all right? And it's all about, should you deal with what you're dealing with now, or should you completely start over? Now, on Monday, I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't do one and why you should do the other, all right? But I want to hear from you. This is what I want to hear. If you're willing to participate with this, and I'm doing this over in my group, which I know I'll get responses from, so I encourage you guys to answer, okay? So why would you want one or the other? And if you're dealing with a mess, what is that mess? What does it look like? So if you want to write, just say you wrote a paragraph here below, okay? I encourage you to do that. Put it out there. Own it, all right? Because guess what? I made more mistakes than I can count. And I had to own it. I had to realize that I didn't know what I didn't know. I couldn't know what I didn't know, and I had to release the frustration and guilt that I carried for years. All right. And what I mean by that, as long as I don't break down, what I mean by that is I carried so much guilt thinking I failed my daughter. I don't want you to do that. So post below, all right? Post below what your thoughts are. Should I deal with this mess that I have, this IEP that's not adequate, goals that are more than likely not appropriate? My child's not making the goals. They repeat themselves every year. Something's not right, okay? Or do you completely start over as if, okay, your child already qualifies for special ed, but do you start over as if your child was brand new, just qualified for special education, all right? They do, all right? But you're basically starting over, and I'm going to explain that on Monday. But I'm encouraged, I'm hopeful that people here on the page will participate with this. If you don't, it's fine. You're not obligated. But I figured I'd try it here, even though I know my group people are awesome and they answer. I wanted to try it here because I'd love to hear from people on the outside, that maybe haven't joined the group yet. What are you dealing with special education? What are you dealing with that's so frustrating that you're ready to pull your hair out? And it doesn't have to be just virtual learning, okay? It could just be just in a hole for the past 2 years you've been dealing with XYZ. All right. The reason why I want to hear from you is because I will be able to go through those. I'm going to answer a lot of those things. I'm going to respond. Maybe they're not questions. I'm going to respond. Hey, Jesse, how are you? Hey, Karina. And hey, Dorothy, how are you? So I'm going to respond to what you say. I'm going to have something to say to it, whether you want to hear from me or not. I'm going to say something. But it's not going to be a negative thing. It's just going to be a response and to maybe get you thinking. Because that's what I want to do. I want to encourage people to start thinking about what it is that needs to happen to create this an ideal situation, not perfection, but an ideal situation where you're open to change. You let fear be where it is. Have fear. Have fear that something may or may not work. Have fear that you may fail your child. You're not. But it's okay to have fear but you got to overcome that, because if you're uncomfortable and you're feeling like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I want my child's education to be perfect, and I want the best for them. Now, mind you, you only get what's needed and appropriate, but you know what I'm saying. You want what's best for them. You want things to be as adequate and appropriate as possible. You want them to get the services, accommodations, and modifications that they need. You want their goals to be attainable but challenging. So I encourage you, post below what your thoughts are. Should I completely start over as if my child just qualified for special ed? All right. Or do I deal with what is? Okay. It could be a mess. It could be so-so, whatever have you. All right. So I encourage you to post below. On Monday, which is going to be like a series 2 of this, I'm going to go through those answers, responses, questions, and I'm going to explain the difference between both and the pros and cons of both. All right. But I'm going to give you the weekend to post below what your thoughts are on A and B. A being, do you deal with what you're dealing with now? Is it working? Is it not? If it's a mess, what is it? All right, and post that below. And then the other one is, do I just recreate everything? Do I completely start over, even though that takes time? And do I just start over? And as if, even though your child already qualifies and you know that, as if they are requalifying. Okay? So I encourage you to do that. Like I said, I have a 12:30 4-hour IEP makeover, so I gotta go. But this is series 1 of 2. We will continue this on Monday. I will go through what you post. Okay? If you're jumping on now, watch the replay. You'll know what you need to do. All right? Because the one thing I'll tell you is, if you don't do the work and you don't feel uncomfortable, then more than likely you're not advocating right. All right? When you bring up things in the IEP, and I'm going to wrap it up with this, when you bring things up in the IEP that makes you feel uncomfortable, that makes the other party feel uncomfortable, then you're advocating. That's what advocating is all about. All right? Is being okay with being uncomfortable and doing what you need to do so your kids get what's needed, what's appropriate, the right goals, the right present levels, and an IEP that works for them, meaning they make progress. Because what is the point in having an IEP, special education, to help a child attain the goal, the main goal of being productive adults in today's society and doing the very best they can, whether that be go to college, whether that mean get a job, do something that they're good at, whatever it is. But that's the goal. So having an IEP is so specific to them. It needs to be so specific to them so that they make progress. And it doesn't need to be easy. It doesn't need to be so hard that they can't attain it, but it needs to be challenging enough that they are learning and growing. All right? So post below what I asked you. I will be back on Monday, and we will go over everything, and you'll know the pros and cons of everything. Okay, so I encourage you to do that. Have a wonderful weekend. Post your questions below if you have them below. And don't forget, post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live, and a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. Have a wonderful Friday. And I encourage you, I challenge you to post those things below. And if you're just now jumping on, go watch the replay. I'll talk to you soon.